Hello and welcome to the Satluj TV podcast. Now, we've talked over recent days about the events unfolding at Punjab University, where cohorts of students, alumni and even academics have been actively protesting with sit-ins, roadblocks and marches to push back on central government's proposed reforms. Reforms that would essentially strip one of India's oldest universities of its democratically elected Senate and bring it under the complete control of the Indian state and, with it, accusations of RSS control. But this battle between students and the Indian state represents a bigger story, a story that's been unfolding, in fact, since 1947, that of the continuing systematic attacks on Sikhism, its culture, its heritage, its history and even the Punjabi language itself, in an attempt to eradicate it forever. So today's students now represent the latest warriors in this ongoing war, the outcome of which is the increasing likelihood of the establishment of a new independent Sikh nation. Well, to discuss the ramifications of what's happening today in Chandigarh, I'm joined today by a regular guest, Dr. Gurinder Singh Grewal, MD. Dr. Grewal, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us once again today.
Good morning. I'm happy to talk about it.
A pleasure as always. Now, Dr. Grewal, Punjab University is one of India's oldest universities with a historic and indeed proud history, rooted even before its establishment during the British Empire and indeed back to the days of the Sikh Empire itself. Could you talk us through the foundational principles behind this deeply important institution?
Yes, I can. So I want to say something personal. You know, at one time, even for a short time, I was a student of Punjab University from 1968 to 1969 in the pharmacy department, one of the very prestigious department. And then I got admission into medical school, so I left. So my concern is because of my connection and the friends I made there. So Punjab University was established in 1882 in Lahore. So the person who established, Dr. Gottlieb Wilhelm Leitner, was a Hungarian person of Jewish origin, great scholar born in 1840 in Budapest. He studied in Europe, he studied in the Middle East, Turkey, Egypt. He knew 50 languages from what we know. He was appointed principal of a government college, Lahore, where he served for maybe 20 years or longer. He's the one who founded Punjab University in Lahore. So this is the history. Then after partition, 1947, they established Punjab University in Chandigarh. Before that was in Hoshiarpur and some other places, fragmented one. But they re-established full-fledged university in Chandigarh. That's where I studied. So Dr. Leitner was a pioneer scholar. He was brought by British. He wrote a book. I think you will have a picture you can add later. It's not in the presentation. He wrote a book, History of Indigenous Education in the Punjab. He revealed how the Sikh Raj, Maharaja Ranjit Singh Raj, had the best education in the world, where Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs all studied in their religious institutions, and the education system was very well working. Because of his book, he lost his job because the colonial rule they didn't like. Because the colonial rule, they destroyed the indigenous education and brought the European education. The effect of that was very deep. Why are we talking today? Because this is my fear, this is the fear of many people concerned, that this is going to be happening again. Now, instead of a European colonial education, now we're going to have a Hindu education, and education system of the Punjab will be destroyed. It's not about Senate only. So this year in April, we introduced a book by SikhHeritageEducation.com. This is a very personally dear to me, Professor Ilm Khalid, one of the professors at Lahore University, because they have all the history. with the main author, and then some students helped. So the book is the tale of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's education system in Punjab. So this book goes further from Leitner's book, how the advanced community-supported education model in Maharaja Ranjit Singh's era highlighted the widespread literacy, religious schools, traditional learning, and the institutions which flourished. So this book is freely available on sikhheritageeducation.com. Somebody can download PDF, and somebody who's interested should read it. This not only tells about Maharaja Ranjit Singh's education system, it tells his Raj, his rule itself, how fair and progressive it was. So we felt compelled that we needed to go back and reintroduce people to what we lost. So this book, hard copy, can be obtained by contacting sikhheritageeducation.com. Of course, they cannot be free, but free download is available. So why I am saying is, again, we are worried this Punjab University current struggle is started. Why it's important is not about Senate, it's about the change in the system they want to bring in whole India and bring Punjab into that. So traditionally, Punjab University, Chandigarh, is an autonomous body, oldest academic Senate tradition in India. So it has residential colleges, that's where we were studying, but it also has affiliated colleges. There are 4 campuses, sub-campuses in Punjab, and there are about 188 affiliated colleges. College of Liberal Arts, Science and Technology, Law School, Pharmacy, Management, Medical Sciences. So these were managed by 90 senators who were elected from different group of people, educationists, previous graduates, and they manage the system. The government now, since the Modi government came, they have a national education policy. They want to bring Punjab University into that. So they want to bring uniformity. You know what uniformity means? They want everybody to become member of Hindutva. That's their uniformity concept. And we are fighting that. Muslims are fighting that. Christians are fighting that. Uniformity is not possible. Equality is possible. So they changed the Senate system to 31. 18 of them be elected, rest appointed or nominated. So basically, the central government, which controls Chandigarh, will also control the university. So current proposal, government is changing to 31, and their rationale is that they are trying to modernize the university and make it more efficient. They say the Senate is too big, it's hard to manage, it's difficult to make decisions and politically influence. They want to streamline administration, reduce internal political lobbying, speed up academic and financial reforms, and align this with the national policy of centralized education system. Because they fund, most of the fund come from central government, because they control Chandigarh, they feel they have the right to control it. So concern raised by students, scholars, alumni is that Punjab University will lose autonomy. It's one of the oldest self-governing Senate system in India since 1882. Changes are viewed as reducing academic independence, reducing democratic participation of faculty and alumni, local decision-making, political and ideological intervention. Many fear curriculum changes may reflect national political ideology rather than academic priorities. Concerns include rewriting history and regional narratives, reducing Punjabi and Sikh heritage emphasis, increasing ideological content aligned with the Hindutva narratives. The worry is that Punjab's distinct cultural, educational character will be diluted. Centralization versus federal identity. Punjab University historically belonged to Punjab region, even though now in Chandigarh. So the Himachal Pradesh and Haryana, which was Punjab one time, their colleges have been removed from affiliation with the Punjab University. Most of the affiliate colleges are now in Punjab. Punjab's education institutions should reflect Punjab's culture, language, and heritage. Central control will weaken Punjab's right and identity in a federal system. Fear of cultural dissent. University traditionally allows debates and critical thinking. Many fear centralization appointments will suppress independent voices in student politics, academic research, humanities, and social sciences. So these are some of the concerns. This is what the struggle is going on. And they seem to have sent some notification which say they are retracting it and the Senate will go on, but there's no real work done to show that. That's why the agitation has not stopped. Couple of days ago or yesterday, the students were trying to enter there and they closed all the gates. So even some of the very senior people in administration, like Swaran Singh Boparai, was harassed by police. He was Vice Chancellor of Punjab University one time, senior administrator. Many educated people, political people, they were not allowed to enter, and the police were restoring to lathi charge, where they beat up people with the clubs. So this is a terrible situation. You know, the one thing I want to point out is the other. This campus, the student hostels, we call hostel there. Here in US, we call dormitories. So these dorms or hostels are inside the campus. So some of the students who live there, they were not allowed to enter. You know, when you live in a dorm, you live in a hostel, you're renting a room. That becomes your property. You're paying to the landlord. Now the landlord has the police there to make sure you can't enter. Isn't that terrible?
So, Dr. Grohl,
this university.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, please do carry on.
So this is how they're treating. Even you're paying the rent, you are evicted without a notice. You can't enter your own place where you rent. So this university has intellectual tradition, the role in India's freedom movement, Sikh multicultural academic heritage, history of democratic academic governance. So many other states have similar problem. They want federalism. They want to preserve their own culture, like Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Bengal, Kerala. They are struggling. So Punjab not the only one, but Chandigarh, unfortunately, has never been transferred to Punjab. So they have direct control of anything. If for Punjabi speaking, we need the language to be preserved. If they come, they will stop Punjabi education in Punjab University. If you want to see this sample, you know, Punjab University, across the Punjab University is a postgraduate institution of medical sciences. Okay, it's a tertiary type of hospital education, very prestigious. They are signed there everywhere that you want to speak in this institution, you speak Hindi, not Punjabi. So those boards will now be shifted across the street to Punjab University. That is the biggest fear, that we will use our language and learning in language. Sikh studies and Punjabi history will be repressed. Autonomy will be gone. Cultural will be diluted. Education is not only tied to identity or just academics. Education is everything for human development. Many scholars, students, and communities raise especially in Punjab, is not about modernization. It's about centralization, cultural homogenization, and dilution of linguist and academic autonomy. It is a constitutional and civilized question. Why Punjab feels the impact deeply? Punjab is not merely a state of India. Punjab is a historic cradle of thought, land where Guru Nanak raised voice against institutional injustices, against blind rituals, against inequality, against suppression of truth. His revolution was intellectual before it became social. Therefore, when educational autonomy is challenged, when language rights are diluted, when university government is altered without consultation, Punjab feels the pain more deeply because our identity is rooted in learning, questioning and ethical resistance. Punjab has a language right, it wants to preserve Sikh tradition, and all those things are being denied. Okay. So that's in summary. We can go on more, but I think the changing the Senate is not for efficiency, modernization. It is to destroy language, culture, Sikh heritage, and bring uniformity. Uniformity is a terrible idea. You know, you can't make all humans uniform. You can make them equal. Even our brothers and sisters, it's very hard to make a uniform, but you can have concept equality. Sikhs have a concept of equality, not uniformity. A university is a sacred space for free thinking, independent scholarship, debate and dissent, research without fear, diversity of views. If university lose autonomy, it becomes instrument of political and cultural control. Society loses intellectual conscience. Punjab University Democratic Senate system has existed since 1882. So this needs to be restored. It needs to be restored, not just for Senate. It needs to be restored because this is important to preserve our culture, our language, our religion, and the heritage we have. This university had produced Nobel laureates, Dr. Harpal Khurana. I think he moved to MIT in Boston. So this is not the first time, and this is not the last time. I think this is the attack on Punjab farmers, Punjab education, Punjab University, SGPC. You can see one after the other, they want to control us. They want to corrupt our religious literature and take over Punjab, destroy its economy. This is a big struggle, and the struggle will continue. I don't know why every few months, every few years, we had to go through that. They aligned with India, considering this their own home, but now everybody feels they made a mistake, and we made a bigger mistake, and we pay the price. Unfortunately, now the young people of Punjab are facing this, but I am sure from what we've seen, the whole Punjab will stand with them.
So, Dr. Grohl, if I may just ask you, you mentioned the SGPC here, and it does strike me, this whole story about the university. The university has enjoyed almost a unique level of autonomy as opposed to most other Indian universities, which are very much centrally controlled. Do you think, and you mentioned the SGPC here, it did occur to me this is very similar to what has happened to the SGPC and other Sikh organisations in the Punjab that have been deliberately, as part of clearly a deliberate agenda, to be infiltrated by Hindutva RSS forces. Do you think this basically is a simple power grab of Punjab University by Hindutva forces?
Yeah, it is a power grab, not for sake of power. It's a power grab to change the culture of Punjab, change the religion, bring everybody into Hindu fold. So this is a very dangerous. It's not physical occupation. It's changing the mindset, changing the literature, They will change everything. They have no hesitation, and they won't stop at anything. You can see what they did in Gujarat, killed thousands of Muslims. The agenda is, look, recently, Prime Minister Modi were celebrating RSS on India's Independence Day. RSS had no role in the independence movement. Even the Hindu Mahasabha, the Savarkar, they didn't participate in independence movement. Then he was celebrating Brahma Kumaris and other Hindu cultural group which are controversial. So you can see obvious, even when the India has some serious problem, this Modi's focus is how to preserve Hindutva, how to spread Hindutva ideology instead of working for whole India to make people prosperous. For us, it's important to preserve the autonomy of the university and autonomy of the whole Punjab to safeguard our history, our culture, and education dignity of future generations. So how do we do that? I think, yes, this is a one fight, but every fight prepares us for eventual solution. That is sovereignty. Sovereignty for Punjab, we call Khalistan, you can call anything. Unless Punjab becomes sovereign, I think these problems will keep rising. I think even the young students now are realizing, I heard some of their speeches, they are thinking, yeah, this is the Senate of the university, but there's a bigger question. I think the bigger question is how to gain back Punjab, how to re-establish sovereignty, which we lost to British, then to this Hindutva movement.
And one element I find particularly sinister is quite recently the university itself sent out an affidavit to all its students and its new applications that you can only be a student at this university if you sign this affidavit to say that you will only protest with the consent of the university, that any protest that takes place can only take place in certain parts of the university as designated by the university, and only students within the university themselves can protest. You're not allowed to bring anybody from outside to join this protest. Do you find this, again, a pretty deliberate agenda to restrict not just the freedom of speech, but they knew what was coming. They knew they were bringing in these anti-democratic changes to the university. Do you think this was a deliberate precursor to restrict any resistance to this move?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I read and heard something like that today from one of the students talking about it. So, if we have a educationalist like Dr. Leitner, who's the founder of it, I don't think he will ever sign it. They are not hiring educationalists. They are hiring mercenaries who are loyal to Hindutva. Anybody with self-respect and having higher education, sending that to student will not do that. They will resign their job or go home or stand up to it. So I think that tells you the intellectual level of the people or the vice chancellor who they have hired, and they are very mediocre. They only worry about their job and they sign. I don't even know if they sign or they give them a stamp and the government can sign anything on their behalf. This is an insult to education, and no university in the world does that. No university in the world does that. This is insult. I don't think any student should sign it. I would have never signed to join that university when I joined, but we didn't have to sign anything there. Even then, there was some concerns. The people who are from Arya Samaj, the one who is also part of Hindutva, they were encouraged, and the vice chancellor at that time was Suraj Pan. He was very cutter Arya Samaji. One time, Saza Kapoor Singh, who was a ICS and British system, then resigned because of the circulation. He read the circular from the governor that 6 are criminals. He resigned. He was going to speak in a meeting held, called by law college students. My roommate asked us, we were very young, not into these things. So 16 years old, what can you understand that? So we decided to go with him. You know what, they locked the auditorium. Kapoor Singh was never allowed to speak there. Even then, the university, slowly, it has deteriorated to current system. I don't think this is a free education. Are you aware of any university in London doing that? Cambridge or any of the others?
Yeah, most definitely not. As you rightly say, to me, it's an absolute affront to democracy, and students are known the world over for being quite passionate and enthusiastic, let's say, about political issues, and they are seen the world over, particularly in Western democracies. They are usually free to go out and protest, which actually then does lead me on to a question, Dr. Grewal, actually about the protests themselves. And that is, there's a young gentleman by the name, I think it's Ashmeet Singh, who's risen, let's say, put his head above the parapet and has become quite a focal point to rally the crowds of protesters around him. He's become very much a spokesperson for this resistance. Firstly, do you think what he's doing is extremely dangerous, certainly in the context of what we know the Indian state is capable of? And of course, we've seen transnational repression in all its forms. That's even overseas, and certainly within the Punjab, its repression of Sikhs has proved very brutal over recent years. Do you think, firstly, it is very dangerous for what he's doing? And do you think the Indian state would dare to potentially cause any harm to him?
I don't know him personally. I heard him speak. I think he is very strong, not necessarily physically. I think he's very strong mentally. His student group, their mentor is Jaswant Singh Kalra. That's what he says. So he's following his tradition. Yes, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. But you know what? If we don't face the danger, if we don't fight it, the change will never occur. Unfortunately, some people have to sacrifice their lives so rest of the society can progress, rest in peace, or prosper. So this is the fear. So let's talk about story. Nelson Mandela belonged to small royalty in South Africa. His father died, his uncle sent him for higher education, and his uncle's son was with him. So in the university, students elected him president of a student union or whatever the organization name they called, I don't remember, it was in his book. So he is elected, but the university administration calls him. They say, we would like you to resign this elected position. We will appoint you to the same position. You know what he did? He refused to accept that. He did not want to give up his dignity, his independence, and his self-respect. And the same Nelson Mandela went through lot of suffering, but eventually he was the first leader of free South Africa, and he did a good job. Because of his presence, because of his education and his demeanor, he told people not to kill each other. Let's get freedom and move on. So this, I think, so maybe this young man will turn out to be another Mandela in future for the Punjab. I wish he is the one. He speaks good. Yes, he need to be careful. We need to pray. I think whole Punjab, not some political organization, need to stand with him and work with him. I think he is well-meaning. Let's pray to God that he will turn out to be another Mandela. You know, the other thing I learned, in Nelson Mandela's house, in South Africa. There's one side, there's some quotes from Winnie Mandela, his wife. She says, I am made of my people, something like that. But she said, I am also what enemy made me. So, see the message? Yes, you are made of your faith, you're made of your heritage, your DNA, but your life also keep changing to environment, what environment does to you. So I think what they are doing now, hopefully is going to make them better, stronger, and wiser.
And as a final question, Dr. Grewal, I've mentioned in our perspective shows on a daily basis almost about these student protests, that student protests historically, as we've certainly seen in the 20th century, do have a habit of bringing down governments because they can escalate into quite significant, bigger political movements. Now, it's unlikely this particular protest is going to bring down the Indian government, but it could potentially have bigger and wider consequences. And of course, I'm talking about the establishment of Khalistan. Where do you think this protest could lead? Do you think it is indicative of the free spirit of the people of Punjab? And as a result of that, do you think this is helping engender this momentum towards the establishment of Khalistan?
I think this is a renaissance. I think this is going to have a bigger impact, wider impact, and this is going to grow. I hope it grows into more positive direction and be peaceful, because when it's not peaceful, the government gets the opportunity to introduce violence and do more violence. So they need to be peaceful. And I think it will have many other places, other students will learn from this and will have effect. You know, one of the reasons I was listening to somebody, it struck me. One of the reasons Indira Gandhi attacked Golden Temple was why she wanted to crush the Sikhs and the Sikh movement and the Sikh religion. She was worried this Anandpur Mata, what Akalis never stopped agitating when she had emergency, that this will be very instrumental in mobilizing this support in other states, especially the southern states. So they were afraid that this movement is going to grow. That is one of the reasons I think she went as far as she did. So yes, this will have impact. I think anybody with common sense, today the age of information, I am sure the students in other states, other places are learning. I just read somewhere they're going to have a conference where 4 or 5 states representative will be discussing federalism. See, this is already working as a nucleus or a catalyst, whatever you. I think this will have impact. Yes.
Interesting words and an interesting discussion, but there we must leave it. But we will be talking again with Dr. Grewal soon to continue our discussions. Dr. Grewal, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Angus. I hope people who are listening will convey to the people who are not listening, more should be listening, that this fight is not about Senate. This is fight of survival, fight of preserving our culture. It's a bigger fight, and we must everybody help whatever way they can. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Indeed, a very important discussion. Thank you, Dr. Grewal. But thank you also for watching Satellite TV podcast. We will see you next time.